L-D-L.
L.
That is Tottenham.
You missed that one L.
That is Tottenham.
No, you didn't. Did you?
No, I didn't. I got it spot on.
Do it again.
L-L-L-D-L.
Yeah, well done.
That is Tottenham. Like, that is the form, and it's completely unacceptable. You've got to think, they haven't won in the Premier League since October. Like, that is all over the place. That is so unacceptable. To any club.
That Luton?
To any club with standards, that wouldn't be acceptable. But for some reason, because it's Tottenham and because it's Ange Postecoglou, who seems to be a little bit of a media darling, there seems to be an acceptance of this.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk.
Won.
I see someone tweeted it, and I think it was spot on. It's very much Bielsa-esque. Remember, like when Bielsa was doing this for Leeds, where it was exciting football, but they'd lose 5-2, and everyone would be like, "Oh, he still played exciting." football.
I know the fixture you're referring to. Yeah. They went to Old Trafford. Leeds United went to Old Trafford, and they got beat 6-2. Bearing in mind the history of Leeds versus Manchester United, it's a huge game. It's War of the Roses, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's Lancashire versus Yorkshire. It's a proper fixture. That real antipathy, real animosity, real hostility between the two clubs, and Manchester United wiped the floor with their rivals. Absolutely battered them. You know, if you were reading the any match report the following day, you would have thought that Leeds United won 6-2. Everybody was waxing lyrical about the open play and the incisive approach from Leeds United and how progressive and forward-thinking and noble it was. And they got battered 6-2. We are seeing a very similar thing with Ange Postecoglou. People love him. People seem to be really buying into him and his character and the way that he talks to the media. And they seem to be making huge amounts of excuses. It's unbelievable quite how badly it's gone.
Yeah.
And nobody's really asking the questions that need to be asked.
Yeah, 5 weeks ago they were top of the table. Now they're 9 points behind the North London rivals, Arsenal. They sit fifth in the table. We have to take into consideration, though, the injuries, right? I mean, they're bad ones as well. Van der Ven's looked fantastic since he was there. And obviously Maddison, at the time, before getting injured, was the buy of the season, right? Everyone was talking about him as the player of the season up until that point. So those are two massive injuries. Massive injuries.
Yeah, absolutely. They've been very unlucky with injuries. I mean, people say obviously it was the Chelsea game that turned it, and in that Chelsea game, not only were they unfortunate with injuries, but there were two sendings off as well. So they lost Udogie and they lost Christian Romero for a bit as well, which obviously had an impact because both of those players played very well this season.
Very well.
So yes, of course there are explanations, but they're not excuses. Ange Postecoglou's position, Ange Postecoglou's job is to manage difficult situations. His responsibility is to come up with answers. So you're posing the questions. The questions are, you have to deal with
Maddison being injured and Van der Ven out. Yeah.
Exactly. His responsibility can't be, well, I have to deal with life without James Maddison. He needs to come up with a solution to that. And thus far, he can't do it. Look, against West Ham, there were some moments where they played okay. But you know that midfield, that Højbjerg and Bissouma pivot?
Yeah.
Look, I like Bissouma. You know I do. I rate him very highly. I thought he's brilliant at Brighton. I think he's played very well for Tottenham at periods and points this season. But the one thing that midfield lacks, it lacks any sort of incisive quality. Like what Bissouma is good at is well known. But
and Højbjerg, similar. They're both quite similar.
They don't have,
they put out
that
fires,
final ball,
but they haven't got that little
final ball, that clever pass, that reverse pass that other people don't see.
And that was Maddison, right?
That was Maddison.
Maddison's role, right, to kind of come in and do that. They haven't had that since Eriksen. Maddison came in and provided that. I just want to read a couple of texts very quickly, get your thoughts on these. We had a new manager bounce. I could see him being sacked if he doesn't adapt and opt for a plan B. Shame, because I like the fella Derek, Tottenham fan, and it's not going to get sacked, is he? I mean, calm down.
No, it'd be ludicrous. It'd be ludicrous to sack him. I think they have to give him at the very least the season. There's no point in even talking about him losing his job because there are explanations for it.
Yeah, but it was scary though. Again, we go to the start of the season where he won back-to-back, manager of the month, and look, everyone was excited about him.
At one point, it was so impressive. At one point, it was minorly worrying. At one point, it was played 10, won 8, lost none.
Crazy.
That's serious.
Yeah,
isn't
so
it?
you can understand Spurs fans excited, right?
Yeah.
We know so many of them, Majestic, Jamie O'Hara, and they've gone from that now to a team that might just qualify for Europe. Yeah. So it is crazy.
But do you know what it is, Addy, really? All this is, it just buys into the fact that Tottenham Hotspur are an illusion. It was always an illusion. They were never going to do it. They were always going to flatter, to deceive. They were always going to, at some point, get it wrong. And what we saw against West Ham United at White Hart Lane was the very definition of Spursy. We've seen it before. It was peak Pochettino versus West Brom or Stoke or Burnley. That's what we saw. They will flatter to deceive. They will let you down. And that's why they've won 2 League Cups since 1991.